What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another Bears show. Day 2 of rookie minicamp is over. I wanted to go ahead and touch base with you guys, and show you some of the thoughts from some of the coaches, Shane Waldron, all the coordinators. You're gonna get to see and hear. I'll talk about them, and then also some of the rookies as well. But before we get started, make sure you like, share, and subscribe to to the Tape Never Lies Network. Make sure you share, like another Bears show, and make sure you become a patron today at www.thetapeneverlies.com if you have not already. What's up to everybody in the chat? Raymond, Carrie, how are you? How you guys doing? Scottish, what's up? James Hunter, nice to see you. And Daniel Barry Sports highlights. What's up, dude? How are you? It's been a solid day today. It's a nice day outside. Really excited to see the product on the football field finally. I mentioned that yesterday. But getting to know some of these players, especially the young guys, when they go through this rookie mini camp is, it's something that I really like. I really like and enjoy, but it leaves me wanting more. You know what I'm saying? But nonetheless, it's learning about the guys, learning, if they love football, learning about them personally. It's interesting. It really is. You could kind of look into a little bit of who they are as people, and they're just post press conference interviews. But these are the first interviews that we're getting with these guys. So we're just scratching the surface of, getting to know them and who they are as players and as men. But I feel like it's fun for now. But sooner or later, me and everybody in Chicago and all the Bears fans around the world are just going to be like, get us to game fucking one. You know what I mean? You want to see the real deal, the product out on the field, and so do I. But as of right now, this is what we have, and we can enjoy it for what it is. But without further ado, we're going to start out in order. Shane Waldron and the coordinators will be talking first, and then it will be the players after that. Let's see what Shane has to say about his first rookie mini camp with the Chicago Bears.
All right, good morning, everybody. Hope everyone's doing great. Happy early Mother's Day to my mom and mother-in-law and my wife. Just want to put that out there.
I'll have to check that out, Irish.
Excited to be around a great group of rookies that were playing with great effort and enthusiasm yesterday, and get a chance to do it again. So best time of the year right now as we start to get back out in the grass with the players and have some fun doing it. So with that, I'll open up to any questions.
You took the job back in the winter. It was a little bit of a leap of faith to see how everything would come together. When you reflect on all of the talent accumulation you guys have had since you got here, what are your biggest takeaways in your perspective on what you have to work with now?
Yeah, I think from the day I began meeting with Coach Flus and Ryan there, I thought the clear connection and the clear vision that they had of where they wanted to keep going with this program felt comfortable, felt really, like I said, clear, and there was good, open, and honest communication throughout the process, because it was a process, and we were able to arrive at the spot we're at today with adding some talented players, added players through the draft, all the things you do this time of year, and excited to move forward with it.
What did you want to know about Caleb in the pre-draft process as you got some time to sit down with him?
I think when you're getting to know the player, right, that's based on the tape, but getting to know the person, that's the time where you get to spend time with them, whether it's the starting point at the combine or the 30 visit or the pro day. So just getting to know the person and getting to know what what he liked outside of football, what he was like as a person outside of football, and starting to build that relationship. And it's been a cool process. He's an unbelievable human being. Football is part of what makes him special, but there's a lot more outside of that makes him special as well. And so, but right from the jump, you get that initial meeting with someone and like, all right, this guy's a pretty cool guy. We can move forward right here.
What most intrigues you about him on the field?
On the field, his arm talent, and his ability to put the ball where it needs to be. That's evident from day one.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's about, keeping to learn and progress and keep moving forward with our system. But the arm talent and what he's able to do is fun to watch.
Yeah, and you know what? I wonder where you've heard that from. It's come from this network. It's come from more specifically Phil Atoshin and Shane and all of us here. But in particular, Phil, just because he called it out first, he called it out well before we even thought we could have the opportunity to get a Caleb Williams. He said that was the guy. But regardless of that, it's important to get to know the guy outside of football, because if you go ahead and you ignore things, or if you don't take that as serious as you know the football side, you could end up letting something slip through the cracks, in the personality that may be something you don't like, or maybe something that can uh end up causing fractures within the locker room. But that's not Caleb Williams. I just that's just kind of my thoughts on the process. But for me, getting to know Caleb Williams, I said that before. Ryan Poles made his decision probably that night when he went to dinner with Caleb Williams the first time. It's we heard the stories of his attentiveness. Never touched the phone, was engaging. You've already seen him uh, in interviews, and now that he's been here in Chicago more and more. You're going to see more and more of him. You're going to start to learn, more about him and his personality and stuff like that. So you're going to start gaining more knowledge about Caleb Williams. But for them to go ahead and like I said, the decision was made that night when they found out who the man was. All the bullshit that was made up about him, his personality, pushed to the side because it was nothing but garbage. It's awesome to see that the Bears did their absolute due diligence in this process. It's really been a breath of fresh air. It makes me a little nervous, you know what I mean, in the gut, just because it's like, is this real? Like this is something we're not used to. This is something that we haven't seen before.
Obviously had huge success in college. What does he need to know now? What kind of coaching does he need to catch up with the NFL game? Because I imagine that's hard for star quarterbacks to accept that they need to do things differently at the NFL level.
Right. I think just with our interactions so far, his ability and desire to accept coaching and keep learning, keep listening, has been excellent. As have all the rookies that have been in here for the last 24 hours or so. And so as he moves forward, it's really more about the operation, building that foundation, the plays, the schemes. Those things will happen as we keep building an offense. But right now, at the core of it, each building in football, you speak so many different languages, and a lot of words mean the same thing, but you got to figure out, what's our language? What's the language for the 2024 Chicago Bears? And so that's a main part of it, main part of what we're doing right now, main part of the process as we build forward to, that final, culmination of all the work we put in. We're on game day when stuff's going on and we're talking to each other. We're using the terms that mean the same thing to one another. And it's not there's no gray area, and that communication can be at the highest level possible.
Caleb was telling us that he was able to get a head start on some of the things like the cadences, the drops. How has that materialized now that you're back together for minicamp?
Yeah, no, it was great to be able to get to that. Obviously, Will being a big help with that, but just starting that process of the communication, because like I said, there's so many things. How you going to call a hitch route? There's, around the league, there's probably 5, 6 different ways to call the exact same route in different systems. So the chance before you, like I said, before you get in the scheme and the offensive breakdown, what are we calling certain footwork? What are we calling individual routes? And when you can come in to rookie minicamp and have a good grasp of that, now you can start to build on that foundation and move forward at a little quicker process.
Hey, given your time in Seattle working with 3 wide receiver sets, how does it kind of help you as you guys work to build this offense here, with Keenan, DJ, Doomsday?
I think, for us on offense, we want to be able to be multiple on offense. And so with the addition of the wide receivers, having 3 receivers, 2 great established vets, we've got other young guys that are up and coming as well on the roster. It just allows us to continue to be multiple, allows us to, on a week by week basis, see what might be a matchup advantage or something that we can look to lean heavier towards. And with that, with Cole and Gerald and the other tight ends and KB at fullback, I mean, we got a lot of different pieces that we can utilize. And so, for us right now, this is the time of year where we're trying to figure out, how's everyone going to carve out their own individual role for this 2024 offense. And, the more good players you can surround yourself with, the better you're going to be as a coach, obviously. So it's been a tremendous offseason of being able to do that and add different pieces. And then the guys that are returning, they're continuing to learn and grow and become better players as well. So it'll be fun to have, all these different players and figuring out what their roles will be for that season.
In your relationship with Will Hewlett, how were you able to like build out a plan of what you wanted him? BC was going to be around Caleb a lot more during that pre-draft process to take to the field, those like fundamentals, those concepts. How did you determine what you wanted him to start working on Caleb with?
Yeah, I think, anytime you have a pre-existing relationship with somebody, you have a little more trust and understanding of, how we're going to work together. And, I think there's always a unique thing about the NFL where, we have the players for a certain amount of time during the year, but there's also a big portion of individual time and time in the off season. And, having that comfort level with Will where, after that 30 visit and those things where you can start getting him some information and, he understands it, sees it well through a quarterback lens. He's done a great job with developing different quarterbacks along the way. And then, this also gives a chance during the off season or during time away to kind of consistently work on the same approach for 12 months out of the year rather than just, we're here now and then you're off and then you're here now and we're working on two different things. So it's been a great thing. And, obviously, moving forward, we'll see what direction that goes. But it was a great start and it was a great benefit, I think.
Bear
for
down,
Caleb
Joseph.
To be able to hear some of those things and be able to have someone that was helping him out along the way.
Is that unique for you though? Is that the way it's trending in the NFL now? Like, did you have to do that with Geno's quarterbacks coach in Seattle, or is this now something that coaches who coach the players on the team are having now to work with guys who are or coaches who are around the players more, just like that 12-month basis?
Yeah, I think every situation is unique and individualized. Gino was in a different stage in his career, so Gino and I could, as he's going, 10 plus years, he had his process in the off season. We had good open communication, no different than with Russ or with different quarterbacks in the past of what their process is during the off season, and everyone's process is going to be a little different. So with Gino able to communicate, hey, here's what I like to work at. He's been at it for a long time there, and so he was able to communicate that to us, and then work with his guy on the outside when it's not the time to be in the building.
When it comes to your responsibility of developing Caleb,
Mhm.
what are strengths that you feel like you have that can pour into Caleb to help set him up for early success and help him get off on the right foot?
That's a good
Yeah, I
question.
think for me, the things that we're pouring into right now is just the understanding of the big picture of the game, right? And all the intricacies and the nuances that, first of all, between college and the NFL, being able to start with that ground floor approach and build that repertoire of his knowledge up as we're going. And so for me, also being able to lean on Kerry Joseph and the rest of our offensive staff, to me, this is always a collaborative effort. So it's going to take all of us to help him along the way, and everyone has great individual strengths that they can bring to the table. So for me, it's helping him with the big picture of the game, understanding the offense, understanding situational football, and then Kerry being a great technician and making sure we're always working on the fundamentals and that belief in the basics. And then Thomas with the pass game and everything that he can bring there and prior experiences to lean on. So it's a collaborative effort. We'll all work at it together. And like I said, so far, all the rookies have been, open and ready to learn.
And that's again, you might get a lot of coach talk, but I think that's a good point. Again, it's focus on the fundamentals. He said big picture, which is, good. I guess big picture in a sense that the like you said, the nuances of the game end up leading to the big picture, or however he said it. It's focusing on the fundamentals, the same type of philosophy. It's hits, but it's not hits because he hasn't given it a pet name, but the same thing. It's focus on fundamentals. Make sure Caleb has an understanding of the the complete understanding of the offense, and you have to kind of be with him step by step throughout the process, which I'm sure Shane Waldron is absolutely doing, during this rookie mini camp and even after. I'm sure.
Having been in the shotgun so often in college and Lincoln system, what's the biggest transition that a quarterback goes through from that to going under center more frequently?
Yeah, I think, the one thing Caleb's shown is that he can, be in all sorts of backfield alignments. Did a great job at his pro day. He's played quarterback his whole life. So I think the biggest thing will be just the footwork and really mastering that first step from under center, something that he's taken pride in already and really gotten a jump on here in this rookie mini camp. But like I said, he's played the position his whole life, just like
What up,
these
Doug?
other guys have. So I
Doug,
think
you
there's a
keep
good
coming up with
natural
these badass
transition and
pictures.
it wasn't something
Send me that
where
one.
we
That one
were
looks
starting
awesome.
from total scratch right here with the drops and with the footwork at the quarterback spot.
Shane, you've obviously been familiar with Caleb for years, but as you sat down and looked at film, is there a throw? Is there a play that jumped out at you? You talk about you can put the ball where it needs to go, but was there a memorable moment where you went, oh, special?
Oh man, just to pick one, I think no, I just think just in general, I think one of the key moments for me is I'm watching him because he's had a great career and I know things went. Sometimes they're great and sometimes you're looking for learning to play the next play. But I think the way that he finished the UCLA game and the way that he stayed competing no matter what the outcome was going to be, and he made some good throws, some throws on the move to finish the game out there. To me, you see the competitor, the championship mindset where he's going to be at his best no matter the situation around him and keep playing. And so I think, seeing that, because not everyone's good in the NFL, right? And every week you're playing against great people on defense, great schemes. And so that ability, regardless of what's going on with the external noise or the situation within the game, to play every play as its own individual snap. He demonstrated that. And so take away all the highlight reels. That was a good moment.
This year when they got beat.
Yeah.
Thank you, Shane.
Thank you.
All right, that was.
Great to be
Let's
back.
pause that before we get to Coach Washington. So Shane Waldron, focus on the fundamentals. Obviously, he's going to have, not only will he have to implement his offense, with the team, he has the job of grooming the biggest prospect at quarterback that we've ever had as a franchise. And I don't say that lightly. I don't say that with, it's just the truth. It's just flat out the truth. He's in charge of doing the job of bringing Caleb up to speed on everything and getting him prepared to go ahead and launch his career and hopefully revitalize this franchise to the point that we are Super Bowl champions once again. And I'd love to see it. I can't wait. I believe in it. It's going to be a tough. I'm not going to say it's going to be easy. It is going to be tough. Obviously, it's the NFL, but Shane Waldron being able to produce in Seattle, being able to, really put together offensive game plans that are successful. I'm going to trust them. I'm going to trust them. I can trust that they've insulated or they've, set themselves up as coaches to do so as well. Let's go ahead and talk to Eric. What's up, baby? Give me 1 second. I'm talking to these people real quick. Let me start this and then I'll get right back to you. All right. Let me start this all right. I got to do some daddy duty right now, but here's Eric Washington for you guys. I'll be right back.
Great to actually be involved in football activities. A lot of planning. It's good to get past the draft and to start the process of putting the 2024 Chicago Bears defense together. Really excited about the way the players have worked. We had a really good session yesterday with the rookies. Austin Booker looked terrific. Excited about what he's going to add and what he's going to bring to our football team, our defensive line, and that pass rush that we're in the process of assembling and building. and turning into a formidable part of our defense. So everything is going extremely well. It's a beautiful day out to finish up this rookie camp. Looking forward to it, and glad to see everybody here this morning. And I'll take your questions.
We've heard Booker described as raw. Would you agree with that? And what is there in terms of raw materials that you'd like to be able to build?
Right. You know, when you hear that word, that implies that there's not a lot of polish, not a lot of perhaps details, or there's a lack of experience in terms of, you know, how you appoint or how you apply what you're able to do against the offense. I'm not sure I've met a rookie that wasn't raw. And so what we want to do is just take what he can do and really hone and shape that, develop him, inform him of all of the things that will allow him to play as fast and as physical as he possibly can play, and just build the player, build the person, and build the player.
Austin obviously comes in the league with some traits that were very attractive. I think Flus used the adjective slippery. I'm curious if you could expand just on the things that caught your eye and just watching some of the things he can do that said, yeah, we really want to work with this and develop.
With no question. One of the things that for me, for rushers, the energy, he has a tremendous amount of energy. He never seems to be out of the play, you know, either early or as the play extends with the quarterback, especially as a rusher. And, you know, when you talk about slippery, it's just hard for the protection, either the person assigned to him or whatever, to get a solid shot on him. He's always rotating and flipping his hips at the right timing so he can continue to advance toward the quarterback. And so he's got that innate feel and ability. You're not going to be able to get a consistent shot on him. And so that's going to help him to continue to advance toward the quarterback. It's a great thing. I was watching him out there yesterday, and you kind of see that in some of the drill work with Travis and Brian, that he has that trait, he has that length and what have you.
What or who has stood out among the veterans that you've been working with during the offseason program? What are some of your impressions of those guys?
You see the smile on my face. And, you know, it's one thing to sit in the room and to review all of the film from last season. And I had a chance to do that very briefly before I addressed this group the first time. And now to have gone through that process, and now you're actually out on the field with the guys. The group, I'm just really excited about working with this group. They're smart. They are a very smart group. You can feel the experience. They understand our defensive package. They understand the details of our package. You know, I have a background with Tremaine, so it's just great to be back out on the field with him and to watch him lead and communicate and just kind of quarterback our defense. I believe our rushers are a year better in terms of where we were last year and some of the things that we're going to do to enhance that group. Our back seven, I just think, you know, our back seven, I think they're as good a group as there is in the NFL. You know, I just, you know, and I'm biased, but having a chance to be out on the football field and watch them and watch the details, there's just a lot to be really excited about, which I am.
As you guys are moving into phase 2, what benchmarks do you want Javon and Zach to hit as they get into the OTAs period?
Real quick, you know, high praise for the secondary. One of the best in the league. You know, it's I would hope that that's what they aspire, you know, to be, that they are looking to be that this year. I'm all for it. You know, they added a veteran leader in Kevin Byard. You know, there's some questions about Kevin Byard, but you know, with the group that he's surrounded by, I could, you know, say, I could see that this group taking a step. Like I said, particularly the secondary taking a step. I do believe the defense as a whole will grow, but in particular, I think that secondary is primed to really have a great season.
And going, like, setting them up for training.
I want to see polished fundamentals. I want to see things that I know will allow them to be as disruptive and as efficient with their rush fundamentals as possible. We're talking about footwork, alignment adjustments based on the down and distance. And when we're in an obvious passing situation, it's more awareness and just a great coordination of fundamentals that I know that are going to give them a chance to really win that particular rep and down.
Is Javon ready for full-time? Like, if that's his spot at 3 technique with Justin gone, is he ready for a full-time role there?
Well, our responsibility is to make sure he is when it counts. And that's why we're going to use the full process, the off-season training camp, every ounce of meeting that we can get walkthroughs to just continue to move him forward.
You talked about the rookies all kind of being raw, and as it pertains to defensive end, what's the biggest adjustments that a defensive end has to make from college to the pros before they're not raw?
Without question. I guess the strength and the power of the guys that they're going up that they're competing against.
Mhm.
That's to me the biggest jump, the biggest thing that I have that you'll see. The guys they're competing against the strongest guys on the field, and you have to be extremely precise to create separation and to execute your job and to get away from this guy. And so that's the biggest thing that I've seen that they're really shocked with is the strength of the men that they're working against. We can't afford to have a rusher stall. We can't afford to have a person on the line of scrimmage not be in total command of his gap responsibility or leverage or be in a position to finish a football play. So that's the thing that always kind of catches them by surprise. And then as their technique starts to advance, now they're finding a way to really create that separation and do their jobs.
When you watched the tape on Dexter, did you see a different player in the second half of the year from the first half?
Without question. And I talked to Travis about that, Flus. You could really see him becoming more and more comfortable because early in the season, like a lot of young players, especially on the line of scrimmage, they're behind because the tempo is just a lot quicker.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot quicker, and they're trying to find a way to not only keep up, but to find a way to play ahead of the football play. And so as the reps and the experiences started to accumulate, you saw him starting to impose his will a little bit more. That affected his technique. And even now, you see him at I think, because I went back and looked at all of the rookie stuff and the individual stuff last year so I could have something to measure where he is now against where he was when he first came in. And I'm excited.
Since the last time we talked to you, what has the process been like in terms of getting acclimated here, getting up to speed with Flus and the coaches and the players and all of that?
It's been a 24-hour deal, without not a lot of breaks. But the people that are around me on the staff, the coaches, the defensive coaches have done a great job of providing me with assistance and support where that's concerned. But it just comes down to just jumping in and just there's a lot of study, there's a lot of background that the staff will have that I'm not privy to, and they're just providing me with that information, and we're working our tails off to make sure that we're as good of a staff as we can possibly be.
Most times when a defensive coordinator comes into a new job, he has to install his own defense, veterans, rookies, nobody knows it. You're coming into a situation where obviously everything's set. How fortunate do you feel to be able to step into that?
Extremely fortunate, as I mentioned when I stood here a few months back. And there's some things that are in my background that we've determined that could be valuable that we've implemented. And so there's some similarities with what we're doing. The terminology is different. I'm trying to flush some of the things that are just inherent to what I've been doing and make sure I understand that now this is called this, and just the subtle adjustments. But it's a great position to be in, primarily because of the players in the locker room, Matt, and the coaches that we have on defense.
In terms of Austin, what are you going to be looking for the next 2-3 months that tells you he's making the necessary steps to be as productive as you guys need him to be this season?
First of all, know the package. Just make sure that you understand from one call to the next how to get lined up, okay, how to receive whatever information we have for you before the ball is snapped. And then when we really start to play tackle football, and when he has to physically go against one of our veteran offensive linemen or anybody that we have out there, I want to see him win. I want to see his confidence start to grow, and that's part of my responsibility to make sure that he understands, that process, and that I'm giving him the right feedback. If there's one great thing, he's going to know about that great thing so we can multiply that.
Coach, I couldn't help but, I almost apologize for how specific this question is. I couldn't help but notice how long Booker's legs are. Does that impact, seriously though, does that impact a defensive end in any way in terms of leverage? Is it an advantage he can use? Because it just seems like he's got longer legs than your average DN.
His length is a great advantage for every player on the field, especially a player on the edge. What it allows you to do is to advance and put that tackle under duress right now. I mean, he can gain ground. He can really take the grass and force and really force the protection mechanics against the person he's working against, the quicker you can get there, and the quicker you can, kind of initiate the play or initiate the violence, the better. And the one thing about that, especially on the line of scrimmage, you have to be able to change directions quickly, and that's one of the things that we want to make sure, because that's one of the things a rusher has to do: create that momentum and then very, very quickly counter the momentum. And so with him, just being able to operate as an edge guy and then as a short area guy when he needs to do that. Thank you, guys.
I know it's Eric Washington, defensive coordinator. Really high on Dexter. Really high on Javon Dexter at three technique. Um, they he mentioned how he took the time to watch all his rookie film, saw the difference between the first half of the season and the second half of the season, and he's excited for it. So I'm looking forward to seeing some growth from Dexter. I'm looking forward to seeing growth from this defensive line as a whole. Uh, but Dexter is a key part. He's going to be a key factor into how this defense works, and hopefully they have him prepared. I think Eric Washington's main focus. Well, I would say his main focus is him, but the way he talked about him, I feel like maybe he's. I don't want to call him his project, maybe, but yeah, I guess maybe he's taking on the task of developing Javon Dexter into the three technique that the Chicago Bears, would love him to be. Uh, let's see. Well, it's we got to see it out on the football field, obviously, but with the praise and the excitement that Coach Washington had, hopefully that excitement is something real, and Javon Dexter is able to take this next step, under Coach Washington's tutelage. So let's go ahead and get to Coach Hightower, and then we'll jump over to the players.
All right. Good morning, everyone. Nice to see you all. Excited to see all of you all, and also excited that we're with the veterans. We're in the middle of phase two. That's been outstanding with the veterans' attention to detail and everything they've been able to bring to the table, coming back locked in and focused. Obviously, we got rookie mini camp going on right now. Excited to get our hands on those guys and get on the grass with them. That was really good. A good day one yesterday, and then really excited and looking forward to mixing those two guys together with the rookies and the veterans being able to work together up into next week. So with that, we'll open it up to questions.
You obviously got yourself a weapon in the punting game. As you were going through the pre-draft process, what were the things about Torrey that really struck you and attracted you to him?
Yeah, first of all, his character, high character person, really good teammate, just an outstanding person, obviously an outstanding talent as well. But he's a really, really, really good teammate. And the most important thing to Torrey is winning. And that's very evident when you talk to him. He just wants to win, no nonsense. And he wants to win, and he wants to do his part to help the team win. So those are some things that stood out in the initial process. But again, yesterday was day one, so you guys saw day one. So
how do you describe his combination of both strength and touch in his leg and the way he's able to balance both?
Yeah, no, it's rare. The strength in his leg and then the touch that he has. You guys saw the strength in his leg yesterday. Yesterday we worked open field punting, and he's as good as advertised. Did a nice job yesterday. He looked comfortable. Excited to see him today. We worked open field yesterday. Today we're going to work plus 50 area, so closer in. So you've heard the analogy about him having different clubs in his bag. Well, today is the day we see his wedges. So he'll get a little bit closer to the goal line. He's excited about that. So excited to see him pin some guys inside the 10 or 5 yard line today.
You had a big role in redesigning the kick return rule. Can you just kind of walk us through what that was like for you and whether you feel like you accomplished, the goals that you guys had, which is to keep the kick return in the game?
Yeah, I mean, good question. There's a cause and effect to everything. So, um, in pertaining to the rules, I was honored and happy to be a part of that working group, along with Darren Rizzi and John Fossil, who work with the NFL office and work with the owners to get the get the proposal on the table and to help get it passed. And so many other people were involved as well, but it's a great opportunity. So I think it'll only help the game.
I was gonna say, how will you?
What's up, Nano?
What kind of returner works in this new setup? Is that something you got to practice? Is that easy to practice, hard to practice?
Yeah, I mean we're all learning. It's all it's new for everyone. So it's been really a good opportunity to work on that and work through some of that, which we've done with the veterans. It's a little bit more limited in phase two, as the rules, you can't go against each other, and then we've worked it here in the camp, as you guys seen with the rookies.
How will the new rule benefit your guys specifically? Is there anybody that you have in mind that's going to really benefit from this new rule?
Yeah, that's a great question, Larry. When you talk about the new rules and what is the purpose and what is the emphasis of the new rules, is to bring more returns into the game. So how it pertains to our team, you you can only think about a guy like Valus Jones. It's a great example. I was his birthday today too, so happy birthday for him. But a guy like that with his type of skill set, with the speed and the power that he has, and he's coming full speed ahead at you. It's like a damn freight train running at you. And he's gonna get an opportunity to touch the ball, 3 or 4 more times.
That's see, coach. That scares the shit out of me. Does he have the fumbleitis cured? Look. I've seen the speed. I get the size and everything like that, but hopefully, he's got the fumbleitis cured. He's a little more. He's a little more confident in his abilities and in his hands. We'll see. We'll see. I could see. I understand why they're trying to turn Valus into this weapon. We'll see. We'll see. You know how I feel about Valus Jones. You know how Shane feels about Valus Jones. But if they're able to find, if he's able to find a niche in the NFL and they're able to uh, coach him up and develop him, and he's able to find some type of confidence in his game, hey, maybe it'll work. Maybe it'll work. But I don't know. I'm not as confident as Coach Hightower might be.
Game. And we all know he's a very dynamic player with the ball in his hand. But this new rule, because of the landing zone, because of the league incentivizing returns, it's only going to have a really good effect for not only our whole return team, but for a guy like that to really change the game.
What are you most interested to see in the chess game? Given that everybody's kind of doing this for the first time and figuring it out, what is intriguing to you about the way that's going to go down when you guys first put it into action?
Yeah, I mean, it's intriguing because it's new football. It's something new, and like we're all students of the game, so we all enjoy learning, and we all enjoy, um, trying to mix and match. And the chess game is where it's at in football. And to even to Larry's point and to Pat's point, the questions that were asked, what does that mean for the league? It means we expect drive starts to go up with the new rules. So with the chess game and how you can schematically scheme and get the ball in dynamic our playmakers' hands, like a Valus or like a Khalil, you get the ball in their hand. What does that mean? That means the drive start's going to increase. So with the drive start increasing, we suspect scoring to increase. And what is that? That's a shorter field for Caleb and the boys to go to work with. That's what it is. So it should be very exciting.
Richard, we've heard a lot about Torrey being a weapon, just the way he can be utilized here. Is there an opportunity for him to maybe get some work on kickoff the way that we saw you guys do with Trenton last year a little bit?
Yeah, anybody with a helmet that can kick off, and that's a great question, Courtney, is always in play. So he's always an option on kickoffs, and the rest of the league got to figure it out. So yeah, he can do some really cool things with the ball in his hand from a punch standpoint and from a kickoff standpoint. So to answer your question, yes.
Yeah.
I don't think we've talked to you since the Shrine game that you got to coach. Got a couple guys on the roster who were in that game. That experience, how'd that kind of help you maybe in the draft process? Maybe better look at some of the rookies and how did it kind of maybe shape the way that you evaluated players and maybe gave some thoughts to Ryan as they kind of built this roster?
Yeah, Kevin, another really well thought out question. And as I said before, I'm internally grateful to Coach Flus, Ryan Poles, and the McCaskey family for putting my name in contention to be a head coach at that game. So that was an invaluable experience for me. Really, what I took from it was just the opportunity to have more touch points with the players, to have a more thorough process in evaluation so that I could come back with information to give the decision makers so that they can make decisions. So we really loved that part of it. And lastly, um, what was interesting about that is you always hear about um, head coaches not really being able to coach and focus like you focus on a position group or a unit. So that was different, but it was somewhat like the same, like dealing with schedules as you do as a special teams coordinator, dealing with in-game management as you do as a special teams coordinator, dealing with so many different personalities in the whole team, and then obviously organizing coaches, which is what we have to do on special teams with all the young coaches we try to develop. They help coach our drills. So while it was different, I felt like I was prepared for it, and that's a credit to Coach Flus for helping me with that. And I felt like I was prepared for it from our scouting staff because they gave us information on the players to bring back to them on certain players that they wanted to get information on. So again, really invaluable experience. And speaking of young coaches, I'm get in trouble for this, but I got to do it. It's a young coach that helps us. Kevin Cook. It's his birthday today. Outstanding coach. So, oh yeah, a lot of birthdays today.
What can Rome be as a returner? Do you see him as somebody who can make an impact in the return game for you?
Yeah, I think Rome is an every down player. So Rome's a first down player, a second down player, third down player, and a fourth down player. You all know that
Every
he
down.
had 3 returns that are on the books, and one out of those 3 returns was a house call. So we all love that ratio, right? And we all love what he can do as a receiver. I mean, leading up in there in yards. I mean, he's a dynamic player, and again, credit to Ryan and his staff. He's an even better person. Like he's a really good person, hard worker.
So, and he's absolutely correct on Roma Dunze. Rick, so the new rules are so you'll have players lined up about 5 yards apart from each other. I believe it's, the kicking team will stand on the 40, and then the returning team will stand on the 35. And, they'll kick the ball. They can't take off, I believe. Yeah, let me see. Trying to make sure I have all the rules. Yeah, so they can't take off until the ball is secured by the returner, and then action can commence. So, no players except the kicker and returners can move until the ball is received by the returner. Returners can return the football wherever it lands. A touchback at the 20-yard line will occur if the ball touches the ground or player in the landing zone rolls beyond the goal line and down in the end zone. Okay. A touchback can occur at the 30-yard line if the ball goes out of bounds behind the receiving team's goal line, if it strikes the goalpost or lands at or beyond the goal line and downed in the end zone. Uh, like I said, kickers will kick from their own 35. You'll have 10 players from the kicking team on the 40-yard line. The receiving team will have, it says, at least 9 players line up in the what they're calling the setup zone between the 35 and 30-yard lines, and then you'll have 2 returners, set back. So those are the changes in the kickoff returns. Coach Hightower seems to think it's going to lead to more offense, better field position, more kick return touchdowns, possibly. So we shall see. We'll see. I'm looking forward to it. I miss the kick return game being, actually being a factor. We were, blessed with Devin Hester being a Bear, and we got to see his career. The greatest returner of all time. They pretty much locked it up because of him, man. You know what I mean? The athlete was changing. I think the league saw that. Maybe they were going to get more Devin Hesters, and they were scared, and they didn't want, kick returns to become, the norm, where it's happening left and right, and pretty much dictating the game. But to me, I think that it's a part of the game. It's a factor. Like if it dictates. All right, am I back? Looks like I cut out there for a second. Hopefully I'm back. But if you didn't hear me, like I said, if you kick returns are a huge factor in the game. They were pretty much, because of Devin Hester, blackballed. I'd like to see it become a factor again. Um, and like I said, if you can't stop it, be better. That's just basically it. Like I said before, I think the NFL got scared. Before I froze up, I think the NFL got scared that the athlete was changing, and this was going to become the norm, and it was going to start dictating a lot more games than before. And for me, I'm like, well, boo fucking boo fucking who? Like, be better on special teams. If if you can't stop it, like, that's on you. That's not on the other team for having a weapon. That's not on the player for being the force that he is. But nonetheless, I think it's going to be interesting and exciting. Maybe we'll see a lot more kick returns this year.
Team the favorite then? Is it his job to do the punt return?
Yeah, I would never discuss that in the open, but that's a great question. That's a great question.
You did a great question.
Yeah, that's a great question. Hey, listen, he's in contention, all right, just like everybody else. So, best man will win. Cream rise to the top.
Corey said that what his skill set kind of mirrors, at least in his eyes, Mitch Wishnowsky. I know you coached him. What do you see the similarities? Is there like a natural tie to that type of hunter both of them are?
They can do some of the same things. Obviously, Torrey watched Mitch a lot. Mitch is an outstanding player. As you guys know, Mitch led the league in plus 50 punting last year. He was, he's a weapon. And I see Torrey in the same way. I see Torrey as a weapon. 2 different players, had to be coached 2 different ways. The good thing about Torrey is, like, you guys saw him, he's a big man. Right? He's a big man. He's all of 6'4", 200 plus pounds. And when he hits that ball, like, you can hear that sound of that ball and that thump in that ball. So similarities there for sure. And excited to work with him today. I mean, I'm excited about this kid, obviously. All right. Good. All right. Thanks.
All right, that was Richard Hightower, special teams coach, Chicago Bears. Very excited about Torrey Taylor. I'm excited about him too. They never heard so much hype about a punter. You know what I mean? Like it's kind of weird, but if he's as good as they say, it's going to he's going to be a guy that can dictate field position, that can help put the defense in more beneficial spots where they can really, if the margin for error for the offense becomes, very, very razor thin, especially in the shadow of their own end zone. So the defense has that opportunity to really do some damage. And, if let's say they don't generate a turnover, they're going to, hopefully they put and they pin back offenses deep enough to where they set themselves up in good field position, uh, for the offense. But let's go ahead and jump to the players now. We're going to switch over, jump to the players. There we go. Okay.
What kind of work have you been able to do the last 2 days? I know they've had you kind of off to the side. What's the plan as far as like rehabbing you and getting you ready for camp?
Yeah, I mean, I've been meeting with the medical staff and kind of just getting my rehab protocol together, and I'm just really excited to get in and get in with the O-line coach, Coach Morgan, and get the playbook down, do everything I can mentally to be ready when my time comes physically.
Players told us like right after you were drafted that the staff
Uh-oh.
medical staff medically cleared you, but were you surprised that they are going to slow play this process to get you ready for camp? Were you
Jared Thomas,
expecting to get
the
some
crocodile
actual
punter.
on-field work in when you got here first weekend?
I mean, I was just expecting to come in and do whatever I can to be ready to play when my time comes. Whatever I need to do, off the field to be ready when I get on the field.
You feel like you will like day one of training camp? That's the goal. And are you optimistic about that?
I mean, we'll see. We'll see kind of how everything plays out. I'm gonna trust them and trust their guidance on this. I'm not I'm not a doctor, so I know how my body feels, and I know I'll communicate that with them, and we'll see. We'll see how as time goes on.
How does your body feel?
My body feels good. Feels good.
When was the surgery?
It was in October.
As you kind of have settled in here, obviously draft weekend was this realization that you were going to be a Chicago Bear. How has this felt the last several weeks of being here and actually being an employee of this building?
I mean, obviously, it's been surreal. This is my team growing up. Obviously, grew up in the area, so it's been amazing. And I'm just really excited I get to contribute to the culture and the history of my favorite team that my favorite sports team in general. So yeah, I'm happy.
The process, I mean, obviously you're local. Most guys, when they're rookies, are going new places. Do you get to stay at home?
Oh my God, I apologize.
Obviously, I'm sure you're at the team hotel last couple of days, but are you able to be in Hinsdale?
Yeah. So my mom still lives in Hinsdale. My dad lives, in the city. So I kind of split time, and but I'm around. So I'm local. It's nice. I get home cooked meals, sleep in my bed. I got my PlayStation here. I got my friends, my dog, whatever. So no, it's nice. It's nice to be home.
Are you focusing on any position in particular, or are you just kind of learning all the spots right now?
I'm learning everything. I want to be as versatile as possible. I want to be able to contribute wherever I can. I'm not set on one thing. I'm a football player. I'll play wherever you need me.
That being said, though, right now, where would you say you're most comfortable?
Honestly, anywhere. Like I said, I'm a football player. Offensive line is offensive line. Obviously, there's different nuances, but you go out there and you block and you do your job, and that's it. And that's what I do.
Karan, what have you learned about Caleb since you've become his teammate?
He's a big presence in the locker room already. He's a good leader. He's a person that works hard. I can tell he's always, first one in the morning when I see here. He's always in here already. So, I think he's gonna be a great leader for us on this team.
All right. Well, that was Kyron.
Like I imagine it's kind of.
That was Kyron. I'm like still gonna. I'm gonna have to get better at. I'm a gaji. I'm a gaji. Like I said, I'll get better. I'll be better. But yeah, he just kind of cut out there real quick. I thought there would be a little buffer. But anyway, yeah, excited to be here, willing to do anything and everything for the team. It seems like obviously this is from Hinsdale. Dad lives in the city. Mom still lives in Hinsdale. Local kid. This is his favorite team, man. Like it's when you get local kids, and especially when they, I go back to Derrick Rose, you know, and not only Derrick Rose, there's more local kids that the city supports. But when you get a local kid, it's a little bit it's like everybody's pulling for you. You know what I mean? Everybody in the city's pulling for you. Uh, I know it's a big deal in his family, obviously, a big deal for him. But that's kind of what I want. I love that idea of bringing in guys that have that extra love for the Bears, that extra team, that extra care and want to be here. It's something that's um, you know sometimes taken for granted, but I like the fact that Kyron's on the team and he's willing to do whatever it takes for the Chicago Bears to win. Here's Austin Booker.
Surreal just flying in here one day and then you're on the field the next day.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a great opportunity. Just continue to learn and get better.
Were you surprised the Bears came back in to get you when they didn't have any more picks? I don't know how close you were tracking all of that.
Yeah, I was definitely surprised they didn't have a pick, but I'm super thankful for them giving me the opportunity to come play here. So
Before the pads come on, what are some of the things that you're trying to work on?
yeah, get off pad level and my hands. So I'm just trying to be the best defensive end I can be. So.
After you got drafted, you mentioned Max Crosby, who's coached by Travis. I understand you were able to connect with Max. How'd that come about, and what was the conversation like?
Yeah, so we trained in the offseason with the same guy, Devon Gopi, and he just connected us. And he called me after I got drafted, just letting me know that I can reach out whenever I have a question or any type of things like that. Because he obviously has a great process how he does things because he's able to compete at a high level. So having that resource has just been great.
What do you want to take from him?
Everything I can, whether that's nutrition or just like his mobility routine, just stuff like that. If I can take whatever I can from him and all the other great players that come about, just add it to my game. So.
Are you able to take anything from your experiences last year, moving from Minnesota to Kansas? I know it's a different jump, obviously, to the NFL, but just that transition, sort of the unknown, that whole process, is that any of that help you in this situation now?
Yeah, 100%. I feel like I had great confidence coming into Kansas, and that helped me out a lot. But also, just being able to learn multiple playbooks also helped me out. So, yeah, definitely.
How does what you've been able to see so far, what the Bears want you to do, translate with your experience so far?
Can you repeat that?
Just
Yeah, speak up. Say it with your chest.
I guess in terms of scheme, what you're used to doing.
Oh, please.
Any techniques, things like that they're already teaching you. How is that mixed with what you already know?
Yeah. So I mean, back in high school, I was a 3-point, and I haven't been 3-point since then. Here and there, a little bit in college, but just getting back into that groove of things. And but at the same time, it's the same thing. You got to get off the ball. You got to use your hands. And you got to have great pad level. So, like you said, yeah, there are some things that relate, but also getting in that groove, getting 3-point again, has been a coaching point.
Is there anything in particular you like about having your hands in dirt?
Yeah, the pad level is way easier when you're already down there, and you can get out way better. So yeah.
I know it's so early, but what kind of expectations have been laid down for you, or opportunity? Do you think there's going to be an opportunity for you to get on the field fast once this thing gets going for real?
Yeah, I'm just going to take whatever opportunity that comes to me. Continue to get bigger, stronger, faster, and do whatever Coach Trav needs of me.
Eric Washington talked about the energy that you play with, where it's constantly going. Where does that come from?
I feel like it comes from just playing tackle football since kindergarten. My dad, he played D tackle as well, so I just always had that motor, wanting to get to the ball, wanting to make hits, but also wanting to get to that quarterback. So I've just always had that about me, and I love the game. So just treating every down like it's my last.
What has
There we go. Cut it fast again. That was Austin Booker. where does he get that motor from? His dad played. He's been playing since he was a little kid. So it becomes natural. I'm not saying you know some people are born with it, but maybe it takes some time. It takes some grooming, but I feel like it should be a natural thing, especially since he's been playing since he was young. His father, played ball, played D line, so it's been in him since he was a little kid. So it comes natural to him. It might not come natural to everybody, but I mean that mentality of go 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 go, don't stop until you get to the ball, you hear the whistle. Obviously, since a little kid has been uh, put in instilled into him. And obviously his dad is a major role, especially if they're playing, if they both play D line. So yeah, that was Austin Booker. I'm looking forward to seeing what he can do. Um, Needs to get bigger, like Dan Sharp is saying here. He was talking about putting his hand in the dirt again. Hasn't done that since high school. Needs to get reacclimated to that, get used to it again. Uh, Pad level, I agree with him. For a guy as long as he is, getting that leverage and winning and having that pad level low is important. Having him stand tall, I think would be a detriment to him uh, in the NFL, just because I don't see him winning a lot standing up. I could see him winning if he gets that leverage with his speed, his length, and like Eric Washington was talking about um, earlier, that ability to close ground quickly. Uh, that is something that I am excited to see, and hopefully he can, like Dan was saying, get bigger, get stronger, and begin to wreak havoc on offensive tackles. So let's go to our new punter, superstar punter, punt god, the punter from down under, Legatron, Legs Luther, whatever whatever the guys want to call him in here, crocodile punter, Troy Taylor. Here he is.
Put out to you about this.
That everyone here is really, really good. Obviously, no disrespect to guys in college or anything like that, but there's obviously elite players in college, and then guys that aren't so good, aren't so elite. But here, everyone's elite. You know what I mean? So I think that's probably really the one thing that stood out, and just how nice everyone is here. I was kind of obviously a little bit nervous coming in here, but everyone just made me feel really welcome. Really from the top, Ryan and Coach Hightower and all the players. Yeah, really can't complain at all. I'm just really happy to be a Bear. It's worked out perfectly.
Or you got the contract done today.
Yeah.
Any emotions that came with kind of having that moment checked off on your checklist?
Yeah, it was weird. I was texting my agent last night, and I got a text late last night saying, "Oh, you'll sign your deal tomorrow." And then I texted my parents this morning just saying, "Oh, hey, I'm signing my deal today." So that was pretty cool, but they were fast asleep, so they probably don't even know, because it would have been about 11 p.m. or midnight there. So yeah, it was pretty cool. I always, when that stuff kind of comes up, I really think about 5 years ago. If someone told me that I'd be standing at the podium in an NFL facility, I would have told them they're absolutely crazy. So yeah, a lot's kind of come about the last 3 or 4 years at IRA, and like I said, I'm really just grateful to be here. Really nice people in the building, and yeah, it's really just an honor. I mean, at the end of the day, it's the Chicago Bears. I was yesterday before my first ever punt period in the NFL. Coach Hightower came up to me. He's like, man, you're a Chicago Bear. I was kind of like, that really helps me settle the nerves a little bit. So yeah, like I said, it's real. I'm just really grateful to be here. Certainly come a long way in a few years.
You said your family is in Australia?
Yeah, they are. Yeah.
You're in Iowa. How much back and forth was there for you, or how much do you anticipate? What do you think your lifestyle will be like?
Yeah, so usually I would go home this time, because most colleges are off this time. Everyone finishes school early to mid-May, and then we get a month off. So a year ago I was home, but it's funny. My mum's always like, "When are you coming home next?" I said, "The longer I'm here, the better." So stop asking. So, but yeah, I usually try and get home once a year. I won't this year, obviously, because I'm here. But yeah, hopefully next year I'll get back. But they're going to come over during the season too, and they've always made the effort to come over during the season, which is yeah, they're the ones I play for. So I'm really grateful for that too.
Roy, Coach Hightower said today was a day like you take out your wedges a little bit, work on some more directional punting. How do you think today went?
Yeah, I think it went well. I think it's one of those things that you always just nothing's ever perfect, and I'm always coming off the field going. I think if you come off the field and say, "Oh yeah, today was perfect," then you probably shouldn't be here, if that makes sense. So, but yeah, it went really well for second practice, and still lots of things to work on. And I think one thing that kind of caught me a little bit by surprise is just how strong the wind is here. I guess that's why they call it the Windy City, but that's just stuff that I'm going to learn as we go. But plenty of things to be happy with, and plenty of things to learn from. And that for as long as I'm playing football, that's how it'll be, and that's how I want it to be too.
Tori, to Kevin's question, obviously, when you have a strong leg, you can showcase that.
Yeah.
But obviously, your touch and your ball placement is something that the Bears really drawn to. When did you start making that a focus in your world? You know, when you're learning.
Oh, about 20 years ago, probably playing Australian rules football. So it's really been one of those things that I've always had that in the tool bag, but it really depends. You know, if you go play in a dome, for example, you don't have any conditions to worry about or anything like that. There's no wind, there's no rain. Whereas playing outside in the wind, it's kind of like, oh, if I really hammer this one, it's going to go in the end zone. Whereas I just try and like float him down there. Like I said, it's really just like a wedge shot. It's not like hitting like a 6 or a 7-iron. That's kind of the way that I look at it. But a lot of the time, that just comes back to practice, and that again, that stuff I've been doing for 20 years. But that's stuff that I'll be working on for the next 20 years, hopefully too.
Do you have any first time that you picked up an American football and punted it, and how did it compare to an Australian rules football?
So Australian rules football is a lot bigger, so the sweet spot's a lot bigger. So it's obviously the American football is a lot harder to, I guess, consistently hit. But I started punting. It would have been about 5 years ago. Yeah, I joined Pro Kick Australia, and I think it was July 2019. So yeah, just under 5 years. So like I said at the start, a lot's happened since then. And yeah, 5 years ago when I picked up an American football for the first time.
Did it come like right to you? Did it come easily, or did something?
No, not at all. I mean, hitting like an end over end drop punt, that's stuff that I've been doing for, yeah, like I said, for quite a while growing up. But trying to, I guess, learn how to perfect like that open field spiral punt certainly took a lot of time and a lot of reps. And my coaches back home, Nathan Chapman and John Smith from Pro Kick Australia, two of the best. I mean, the facts are there that they've had so many Aussie guys over here playing college football, and now a few of us in the NFL. So yeah, learning from those guys really helped.
Do you have any experience with kickoffs at all? The conversation came up with Coach Hightower earlier today, just with the new NFL rules this year. It seems like, you know, direction and things like that you could be able to help there.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm always, whatever I can do to help the team, I'm going to do it. And if that's something that Coach Hightower wants, absolutely, I want to be out there. I mean, I want to be out there for as many places as I can, because I feel like there's really only certain amount of positions in football where you can manipulate the game how you want to manipulate the game, and punting's one of them. Like, I'm fortunate enough to be one of the guys on the field that has the ball in his hands, and that means at that specific period of time you're in control of the game. And obviously I want to win, so I'm going to control the game how I want to. And if that includes being out on kickoff,
Jaron, you're on fire.
that would be great. And obviously the new rules are certainly going to keep a few special teams coaches up late at night. And it's kind of funny, you know, if I went out there, a lot of teams are going to be like, "Oh, what's he doing out there? Something's coming." So yeah, it'll be good fun for sure.
It seemed like everybody had an opinion on the Bears choosing a punter in the 4th round. Have you heard that talk, and what do you think when you hear that? Do you feel
Thanks, Lucas.
pressure?
Nah, I mean, what's that saying? Like, pressure is a privilege, and I think it's really one of those things. A lot of that just comes down to matter of opinion, and the people in this building, I'll listen to their opinion, but the opinions outside the building, there's really not much I can do. I really only just worry about what I can control, and really, I'm just trying to get better as a punter. I don't really worry about any of the external stuff, but I just hope Chicago Bears fans are excited, because I love punting the ball and I love winning games, and that's all that matters to me.
What's the most challenging part about the holding part of your job?
Probably later in the year when the conditions start to turn. I mean, we're doing some wet ball drills out there today, and it's certainly a lot more difficult when the ball's soaked, and it's certainly a lot more slippery. But I take holding just as serious as I take punting, because, you know, punting most of the time doesn't necessarily result in points, but field goals do, and field goals can be a matter of winning or losing a game. And I really enjoy being a part of that too, and looking forward to meeting Pat and Cara in the next few days.
Both you and Richard have mentioned Mitch Wishnowski. Have you reached out to him? Has he given you any advice on just life in the NFL and how this is all going to go?
Yeah, a little bit. So I've had a few guys kind of reach out to me, and first and foremost, Mitch just said, "Yeah, Hightower's the man." So, and I kind of knew that when I met Coach Hightower at the combine. Just a really nice, first and foremost, like one of the best special teams coaches in the league. He's been doing it for a while now, but just a really nice guy. And I really appreciate guys' honesty, and he's a really straight shooter, honest. And he expects a lot from everyone, and I really like that too. Really, really nice guy.
One of the things that he specifically wants you to work on, when you talk about that honesty between the two of you.
Oh, first and foremost, it's just kind of getting used to, I guess, the NFL life and how they do things here. And he just said, make sure you look after your body. But what I really appreciate about Coach Hightower, and with no disrespect to any other coaches, a lot of coaches are really different in how they do things. They really try to control players. It's like, you have to do this, or we'll get someone else that can do it. And there's a bit of that in the NFL for sure. But what I love most about Coach Hightower is like, well, what's your best ball? And we'll go with that. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, it's all about guys going out there and maximizing their potential on the field. And I think that's what I love most about Coach Hightower is he wants guys to succeed, which is really the most important part of the NFL is doing your job. And when you've got someone that is really going to back you in like that, it really helps.
What's the extent of your experience with fake punts during your time at college?
So I did throw a pass in 2021 to Sam Laporta. Yeah, so that's probably why I went second round, because of that one pass. But no, that's it really. So he completed the pass, but we didn't get the first down.
The Bears haven't tried one since 2020. Now that you have a contract, you have some influence in helping to.
I'll leave that up to Coach Hightower. Like I said, whatever he wants me to do, I'll do. But yeah, not too worried about any fakes right now. Appreciate it, guys.
All right, Tory Taylor, Chicago Bears punter, seems to be a cult favorite already. Like the chat was saying, I'm looking forward to this season, man. Like I said, man, this is one of the most exciting seasons I can remember. Probably the most exciting season. I should take that back. The most exciting season I can remember. And you have all these different. Obviously, Caleb is the biggest reason, but there's now you're looking at it. You have a guy like Tory Taylor that we're excited for. You have a guy like Kyron. You got. Let's see what Austin Booker can become. There's a lot of upside on this Chicago Bears football team all of a sudden. And this is 2 years out of being probably the worst Chicago Bears team I've ever seen. Kind of a whirlwind in the past couple, 2 years. It's hasn't been easy, but going from where we were to now and listening to, these young men up here talk, like I think the Bears really nailed it. The draft hit the ball out of the park in the draft as far as personality, leadership, and the intangibles are concerned. I believe in Caleb Williams. I believe in Roma Dunze. Let's see what Kyron can do. Let's see what Austin Booker can do, and let's see what Tory Taylor can do. Let's. It's a very exciting time. I can't, like I said, I think this is the most excited I've been. Maybe after the Super Bowl in 07. Maybe the ensuing season. I think that first game was against the San Diego Chargers. I believe Tommy Harris went down in that game, and Tommy Harris was having a monster game. I remember I think he jumped over the center from with his hand in the dirt from a 3-point stance, jumped over the center trying to make the tackle on Phillip Rivers, but it was, it ended up being a loss for the Bears. Tommy Harris went down for the year. Sucks, but that excitement, that was probably the last time I was this excited for a Bears season. And, hopefully it leads to a lot more years of this, just exactly this. Excited to see the Bears instead of dreading to go ahead and live through another year of Sundays that are mediocre or less than mediocre at best. So we'll see. I think the Bears are ready to take this step. I like the players that they've selected. Listening to them speak, they all seem to have that same type of idea of wanting to do whatever it takes, whatever you need me to do, I'll do it. It's a love of ball, right? That stems from loving the game of football. Uh, yeah, I'm very excited to see what is in store for these young players, for this football team. It's going to be a great season, guys. I'm going to wrap things up here. It's been great. Obviously there'll be more of these uh, interviews and such coming up soon. Hopefully, TTNL can actually be in the building, boots on the ground, one of these days. We'll see. But nonetheless, it's been a great off season. Looking forward for it to being a great season as a whole. But that's it for me, guys. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe to the Tape Never Lies Network. Make sure you become a patron today if you are not a patron at www.thetapeneverlies.com. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Hopefully the Cubs come back. I know they're in a rain delay. They were down 6-1 to Pittsburgh, ended up coming back. It is now 6-6 in the fifth. 2 outs and the bases loaded for Seiya Suzuki. But we'll see. Maybe they'll end up pushing it for tomorrow. We'll have a doubleheader for Cubs and Pirates. But anyways, guys, have a good evening. I'm out of here. Peace.